Well, by now you probably are aware of this bucket truck project, and I've had way too much time on my hands to come up with a harebrained idea. But it has to do with this rack here that I think was designed for ladders. And you can see how close it is to the bucket, and it kind of interferes with it. So I thought, what do I need a ladder rack for? I think I'm going to get it off of there, but it's way too heavy for me to do by myself. But I like to do things by myself. So, hey, I have a bucket boom. It has 300 pounds limit, but if I don't tell it I'm not in the bucket, maybe it'll still lift 300 pounds while I am out of the bucket. Worth a try, huh? So every time I want to set this down into the cradle, you can see just how close it is. I've got it unbolted. I just need to get it off of there. In the top rack here, you can see how bent down it is. Well, from the scrape marks on it, it looks like when this lower boom is lifted up, if you swung it sideways, I think that is what has done that. Another reason to get rid of this. So my plan is to swing this boom over here, try to guess a little bit where center is. I think I'm a little heavier on this end, but straddle a strap around that, lift it up, and see if I can't lift this over and down. Famous last words, huh? Thinking about in there somewhere. Let's see, maybe I want that top boom a little more level, huh? Maybe about there. That'll put me right about here. I'm going to use this as a choker. See how that works. I need to move it down a bit. Try to find center. That's more gooder. We're about maxed out here. Ta-da! Boy, that won't work. Kabang! Now this can swing low either direction. Won't be running into that thing. So we had a guest show up in the last video. This is our little orange tabby cat. He showed up 2 years ago, stuck in a window well, and he was about as big as our fist. And he showed up on the day of Yom Kippur, so we have named him Kippur. This is our Kippur cat, and kind of interesting. Diane thought maybe it was a female, and so she was saying, can we keep her? But it ended up being a male. So Keeper turned into Kippur, just to remember Yom Kippur when he showed up. He is a friendly rascal. Only to Diane and I. Anybody else shows up, he is gone. That is a heavy rascal. Kind of blocks me in. I might have to use my boom and try to get it to go on the other side. I don't think I can move that. I can lift it, but I don't think I can move it. Well, after I got this ladder rack off, I started kind of opening things up, looking for grease zerks, just trying to go through and do some maintenance on this. And I wasn't sure I was catching all those grease fittings, but then I got a call that my truck was ready, which I was glad to have my truck back, so I went and brought it back. But one of the main reasons that I was interested in getting that truck back was I was handed an envelope full of papers. And in that envelope was the inspection reports from back into maybe 17, but I was curious about the earliest ones, and they were from 2022, 2023, sticker said 2024. Well, on one of those reports, it noted that the operators were complaining about this bucket, that they felt like it was unsafe. And they made a note in there that this is a really old machine and there was no owner's manual to it. They thought, well, maybe the cylinders had to be repaired. Cylinders? What cylinders? So in that pile of paperwork was the owner's manual. This is a treasure to me because it showed me where all these grease fittings were. And it gives me an idea of the schematics of how this self-leveling bucket is supposed to work. The main thing was that it addressed that it did have a self-leveling bucket. It's not supposed to be free swinging. So I get to digging a little deeper in here on what is this self-leveling bucket and why is it so scary? Because I can't imagine that they would put this out initially with that type of a condition in the bucket. It's just unsafe, and they didn't. So all of your comments about you need to do this, you need to put a clutch plate on, yada, 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 has nothing to do with this bucket. This owner's manual opened up the door to how this is supposed to work. And they said on the back of the turret is 2 valves that you're supposed to open up. So this is the turret here, and I had the covers off, checking my batteries, cleaning my terminals and all that. 2 valves. I could not find these 2 valves, but there was a picture of a decal that showed open, close on these 2 round valves. Where are these valves? So I started taking things apart, and I finally found them. Well, on the back of the turret was this cover and these hoses going down to the main cylinder, coming from the pump and reservoir and all that. So I took this cover off. Well, I still don't see anything. But then I noticed this cover, and it doesn't come off, but hiding behind this is those 2 valves. And they're kind of protected by the shield, but they weren't easily opened up. And the more I played with them, I got them to move. So that is the open position. And they are two round valves, just like that emblem showed. So here are my two valves that are going to help me adjust that automatic leveling bucket. So remember earlier when I was playing with this, underneath the cover here were some levers that operated the booms from the bucket. So I took that plate off, thinking, well, maybe there's something wrong with the switch in there, but there's no switch. They just have these aluminum rods. It's kind of dark in there, but as I move this bucket, you can see a gear moving, and this is what the owner's manual says is the rack gear, and this top part on top is the rack. So this is the rack assembly that is controlling the automatic leveling of this bucket. And to move it freehand should not be possible. This owner's manual said the amount of allowable swing in this bucket is 3 to 5 degrees, and it should stop. Well, it's way more than that. So I went to the troubleshooting section, and part of that was addressing what is wrong when you have a bucket that rotates freely. And it has to do with those adjustment valves, and behind these rack assemblies are cylinders, one in the top boom and one in the bottom boom, because these cylinders are fed hydraulically from the lower lift cylinder of the lower boom. And if it rotates freely, chances are there is air in the system and it needs to be bled out. So I took off my stop that I put on there. That was a funky, not supposed to happen type of deal. So all these ideas of putting clutches and stops and all that, that's not how this was designed. It has automatic hydraulic activated cylinders that run these racks. So according to whatever level these booms are at, this is supposed to automatically adjust within 3 to 5 degrees. That's all the play it's supposed to have. So I haven't done this yet. I'm going to see if this actually works. So according to the owner's manual, I'm supposed to tie this top boom to the lower boom so it cannot lift. So that can no longer lift. So according to these directions, this is the lever that activates the upper boom. With this tied down, if I activate this, it should actually rotate that bucket. Supposed to rotate at extreme both directions 3 times. So there's 1, 2, 3, go back. Now I was supposed to leave it there for a minute. Get my phone and time me about a minute. I'll start about a minute there. Let it set. So this is looking a little more hopeful that it is actually controlled hydraulically off of this cylinder. So there's 30 seconds, huh? It's pretty encouraging that it's not going to be such a death trap or a circus ride as I first thought. You know, some of these Zerks, as I found them, did take grease. Some of them don't. I think they had not seen a grease gun for a long time. Well, there's a minute that way. I'm going to go a minute that direction. Then when this is setting extreme both directions, I'm supposed to take it down to where the bucket is down, and then I close these valves, then see if it actually works. It's really hard to see this phone in the sunlight. Did you notice when I was taking the ladder rack off how this thing growled, this turret, when it turned? There is a grease zerk that is almost non-findable. Okay, so there's our minute, so we'll bring it back down, and it says underline, close the valves. So there we are, closed. And now the test is take my strap off and actually put it up and see if this does work. Now, I'm not exactly down. I think I'm going to open these up a little bit. Put it straight up and down, and then I'll reclose these valves. Take off my strap and see when I put this up if that bucket automatically stays level like it's supposed to. So I should be able to test this. Yeah, see, now it doesn't free float anymore. Oh, that is so encouraging. See what it does when we go up. Look at that. Stays level like we're supposed to. That's pretty cool. I'm loving it. Yes, ka-ching, ka-ching. There's the 3 to 5 degrees. Perfect. Thankful for an owner's manual that supposedly doesn't exist. It does exist. It might just save my bacon. So there is a worm drive here that drives a kind of a bull gear that turns this whole turret, and it goes 360. And it says when you go 360, make sure you go back the other direction so you're not stretching out hoses. But it recommended some kind of a lube on this gear, and it was dry. I've got a lube here that has graphite in it that I'm going to spray with it. I'm going to do the gear also. Now down inside, I can't even get you to see that, but just above this bull gear, in against this post, there is a grease zerk. And it took a lot of grease, and I can't tell if it has enough or not. I put a lot of pumps in there, like 12 or 15 pumps on my grease gun. The top one would not take grease. I may have to pull that zerk out and replace it. But this thing really growled. So I'm going to lift both booms up and rotate this and kind of spray this worm gear at the same time. So now I can rotate this whole turret. And as that worm gear is turning that bull gear, I'm going to just keep on lubing it. I can kind of spray this gear here too. Done 90 degrees there. And come back the other direction. A lot of that growl is out of it now. head in the way of the camera. I'm going to go 90 this way also. Not the growl that it had before. This is one of the two massive batteries that it has in it. One of them was replaced in 23. You can see that sticker here, 11 of 23, and the other one was put in 2022. And another one of the comments that was kind of repeated, since this is electric over hydraulic, it could leave you stranded up there. You know, you better be careful. Well, the owner's manual says that the engine alternator is not designed to recharge these batteries. It's designed to maintain these batteries. So this draws between 100 and 200 amps, I think it said, and a 100 amp alternator puts out 30 to 40, so it can't keep up. So it mentions in here that the idea of leaving your truck idling to keep these charged up is a misnomer. It doesn't happen that way. But the nice thing about it, in this manual, it said these two batteries are designed to hold enough charge that you can lift this boom up and down 80 to 85 times before these batteries need to recharge. And the best way to recharge these batteries is to put a battery charger on them. Anywhere from 10 to 30 amp. I think I have a 15 amp that I put on here, and I think these were pretty low when I got it here because it took almost 2 days at 15 amps to charge both of these batteries. I ran it a little bit playing with it, and I charged it again, and it took about 6 hours to pick it back up. So they were pretty low, but running the engine is not the answer. It's to keep them charged, plug it in overnight, whatever you're doing, and keep them up. So another thing that I learned from the owner's manual that throws out all of these ideas of being scared to death. Now that high-low switch up on the boom, it actually has 3 positions. It has a slow speed, and then there's a center position, and it has a fast speed. It recommends going up and down in fast speed. The slow speed, which I don't think works, is designed if you are around electrical equipment and you want to move really slow around it. Well, the slow speed is operated by a relay that switches an orifice. It cuts the orifice down, which restricts the volume, which a number of you mentioned that would be an option to restrict the flow, but it would restrict all the flow, and I don't want to do that. So I may have to look into that. I found where those switches are. They're actually halfway down on the side of the top boom. Everything has just got this own little place that it's hiding. This is the Zerk here, while I'm thinking about it, that would not take grease. It just pukes all over everywhere. And this is to grease the top of the turret. The bottom, I took a lot of grease, and I think we took all the squeal and grinding out of that, plus lubricating those gears and that worm gear. So another kind of misnomer, just because we don't know, and that's a lot about why there is an owner's manual. And I was so glad to find that owner's manual in that pamphlet of paperwork. So I'm going to bring this back around, and with the lower boom up, try to put the bucket down on the ground and see if it does maintain that automatic leveling when it is that far. Much quieter on that turret. Much better. See that bucket just stay level? I love it. So right there, it would be an easy entry off of the back of the truck. So just to watch this, I'm up pretty high. I'm going to put this boom clear up and see what that bucket does. I'm pretty confident anymore. Yeah, see, there's no play in that anymore. That's perfect. I'm also getting excited. Look at that. I love it. That is perfect. Absolutely fantastic. You can tell I'm excited. It actually works. You know, I don't mind old equipment at all if it works. So the growl is out of the turret. My bucket is stable. It's just kind of not kind of exciting. It is exciting that this is actually designed to be safe. And one of the things in the owner manual is think safety first. Well, yeah, this is cool, really cool. I'm going to put my fiberglass shields back on, kind of button things up. That top zerk for the turret, I'll be able to pull it out and put a new one in, get that greased up. Everything else I think took grease. Pretty cool. Anyway, I almost can't contain it. It's pretty cool. So, appreciate you coming along. Thanks for watching.